What is up, everyone? So today I got the Cokunst portable blender. We're gonna go over its price point, its features, and whether or not it's a good purchase, and see how much power this thing has. So let's get into this review and see what it's all about. All right, so this is how it comes prepackaged. It's just a little sleeve over it, just so you don't scratch the external plastic. And then, of course, you have this little instructions page and a cool little graphic for you. The nice thing about this portable blender, and I recommend you looking into when looking at portable blenders, is that it's a USB Type-C. A lot of new stuff is going to the USB-C, so keep that in mind. You have your USB charger here. This is that Type-C power button, and then where you're at with your battery power. Okay, you have a little lanyard here that's rubberized. It has grooves in it, so it's grippy. When you unscrew it, of course, you could drink it straight from the container, but I don't recommend it because there is a blade here and it is powered all the time. Okay, you have your silicone gasket in here. You got a nice little bolt there that goes into your pin. And this is cool too because it's not a rivet. You could actually tighten it if it gets loose, or you could remove this altogether without having to cut it. So that's pretty nice. To wash it, you actually got another layer that you could take off like such. Okay, and this is BPA free. You have your blade here, but remember, it's always powered on because there's a battery in here. You got a rubberized footprint down here, which actually keeps it in place really well. Like, this is super tacky. It might accumulate some dirt, but when you're dealing with something with a small footprint like this, you don't want to easily knock it over, especially when you got your drink in there. All right, the threads themselves, I think these are called like SP something, but they're the larger threads, so you don't have to worry about stripping anything out, and it's a pretty positive grip when you're tightening it. On here too, you have the level of juice that you are blending. It's kind of hard to see, but it does give you the scale there. You have these recess indentations here, so that way you could grip it, so if your hands are wet from washing this, you could still attach it really easily. Okay, so let's power it up, put some stuff in there, and see what it does. Okay, so let's go over all these specs here. So you're looking at the product size and metric system, or using the metric system. So you're looking at 89 by 89 by 240 millimeters. The bottle capacity itself of how much fluid you could have is 17.9 ounces. The bottle material is PCTG food grade. The base shell material, which is this, is ABS. The blade itself, which is right there, is 304 stainless steel. You're looking at 7.4 volts of working voltage, 5 volt, 1 amp charging voltage current, which is your normal phone plug for the USB-C. Battery capacity is 18650 batteries, 2000 milliamps, which is in here. So 18650 batteries, those are really good. Gives you a lot of power. And your motor speed is 20,000 RPM. Your charge time is about 3 to 5 hours to charge it up. And single working time is 40 seconds of run time. First of all, we're gonna actually blend some stuff and make a smoothie. But one thing I wanna mention is clean this first, just in case. Always clean your product. But this will not, it's not a universal fit, so it will not thread on the opposite end. So you have to make sure that you thread it on the right side, because if not, this side's a little bit bigger. See, I could do it with one hand because the actual base grip's pretty good. But if I flipped it over, it won't grip at all, and it won't allow it to thread. So it's directional, and you gotta make sure that you put it on right. So one thing you want to keep in mind is keep this silicone ring or gasket free of debris, because if not, you might not be able to get a good seal on it. But if you look closely at this blade, it looks like it's gonna dice up stuff really well. So one thing I found out is this thing has a pressure sensor, so if you don't have the plastic cover over it, it's not gonna run. So watch this. So you double click it, it runs, but the moment you unscrew this, it turns it off. And I'll show you without this top on. Double click it, nothing. And that's so that way you don't get your fingers chopped off. But around this gasket, there's probably a pressure sensor or a little pin that picks up the power, and it tells it to activate or deactivate. And that's part of your certification here. Okay, so that way you don't try to kill someone with it. When this thing gets screwed all the way down and everything's activated, you'll see the blue lights kick in, and that's how you know that it's ready to go. So you want to tighten that up, and then you double click it to start it. Single click to turn it off. So let's load this up and see how much power it has. We got our frozen fruit and protein powder in here. It's rock solid, so we're gonna see how well it does here. And then we're gonna add some juice in here just so that way it could moisten it up. So that way it doesn't turn into a froth. It actually turns into a liquid. And then we'll throw some Skippy peanut butter in there as well, just to see how well that motor runs. As you can see, I didn't pre-blend anything. I just added some juice in there, the peanut butter, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so double click. So as you can see, it kicks butt right away. You're gonna have to shake it a little bit just to get the harder stuff down to the bottom. And we're gonna probably need more liquid in here just because it's so thick. It doesn't want to sink to the bottom, but it is actually blending. So as you can see, it is frothing up. All right, so I added more juice in there. And the reason why I needed to add juice was just so that way it didn't ice up on itself, because that fruit is cold. And it allows it to circulate down to the bottom. If not, you're gonna have to do what I did and shake it up, but it did break down the larger particles. So as you can see, it speaks for itself. I mean, it's kicking butt without me shaking it. Also keep in mind when you shake it, if this lid comes loose, it's gonna lift up on the pressure sensor. So you gotta make sure that you're not twisting it if you're shaking it. But that thing is kicking butt. It turned off on its own, and that basically gives you your interval of how thick you want it. If you want to add more liquid to make it not as thick, or maybe you don't want as much of a puree, then it would kick off for you. But if not, you just hit it again and run it again. Surprisingly, this thing actually blended better than the large blender, and I think it's because the actual blade is so close to the walls that it doesn't allow anything to really tuck up underneath it. It just keeps chopping away. So I think that is a really good benefit to having a smaller blender to begin with, is the fact that, you know, you can blend up everything without anything actually, you know, tucking in underneath it. All right, so let's see how pureed this thing is. Okay, so of course you could drink it from here, which is not recommended just because this is pressure, the pressure pad under here is engaged. So you could accidentally push this and it'll spit all over your face. Let's see, this was running two or three cycles, like 2.5 cycles of the timer here. So there you go, there's your drink. If you want it more of a liquid state instead of a frothy smoothie state, I mean, you could run it for a longer period of time or just add more liquid to it. If you want it more frothy, you could always add ice to it as well. But as you can see, the viscosity of it is actually pretty good. I mean, this is probably what you want to drink at this viscosity for a smoothie. All right, so to wash it, all I did was turn this thing upside down, okay, without the base on it. Took the base off, filled it up with hot water because the base is not waterproof, so you don't want to submerge this whole thing in water, especially because there's 18650 3.7 volt batteries in here. And this is just to clean your propeller here, or impeller, whatever you want to call it, with the blade. And then once you do that, you could also, depending on what type of scrubber you have, you could just take it and scrub it, or you could do like I did and just do it like that. Turn it on, and as you can see, it creates a tornado in there. That thing really kicks butt. Okay, so if you look on the inside, as you can see, you don't see no peanut butter on the sides anymore. There was peanut butter on it, but that was just one spin cycle on this. I didn't even scrub the inside of it, and it's already clean. So that was pretty neat. If you put soap in there, it'd probably be better. And the reason why it's okay to put water in here and then put it on here is because it acts the same as your juice, as it is when you have to clean it. So that being said, that was an easy way to clean it, but I definitely would recommend taking a sponge and cleaning the inside, of course, just to finalize the cleaning. But at least for the most part, it cleaned everything in here. So for the verdict, do I recommend this Cokunst portable blender? Yes, I do. At the price point that it comes in at $30. And then if you search on Amazon, they always got these little coupon codes that gives you 5 or 10% off or what have you. It's a definitely good buy, especially if you're a truck driver and you need something portable like this, especially because it's USB-C. That's a big plus, and it has a lot of power. So that's a great feature to have. And then also, if you're a camper like I am, this is great for on the road, because you don't have access to power. So bringing something portable like this is a good alternative to make your smoothies, shakes, whatever you want. You could blend up in there, and it has enough power to do so. All right, so that's gonna complete today's video on the Cokunst portable blender. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to see content like this and other content I'll be posting in the near future, consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.